So I just want to say I feel good about the Republican Party.
Andrew, Andrew, I did not pull anything today. I've been moving all day, so I'm lagging on shit.
Luckily for you, I have some good stuff for tonight. And also, apologies in advance to our viewers. We think our internet connection is good. You're dealing with a brand new place and brand new internet, so we're going to see how this goes. So far, everything seems to be going pretty good. So,
Perfect. Yeah, it's
yeah.
not bad at all.
Anyhow, clearly the war with Iran, which is, it's not a war and it's not a military operation. It's not even an incursion. It's an excursion, according to Trump.
An
But
excursion. Oh,
yeah,
we're,
we're
we're
going to
going on an adventure now.
exactly. We're going to get to that in a second. We've been talking a lot of war, and we've missed out on some funny stuff and some important stuff. So there's two things I wanted to cover real quick before we get into the war. First one is simply to tickle my funny bone, hopefully your funny bone, and to any women that might be watching this. Like, I don't mean this in a sexist way at all. It might come across that way. I'm sorry in advance. First of all, you know how first ladies have like, there's always like a first lady initiative. Like, Dr. Jill Biden had like an initiative on women's health and some it was called like joining forces. It was for military families that like when they have
Yeah.
to move around a lot. That was her big thing. Michelle Obama had it was called Let's Move, and it was like about childhood obesity. It was getting
Oh yeah,
kids
yeah.
up and active, and she also
Didn't she?
tried to make the schools serve healthier lunches, and Republicans lost their shit,
Oh
which is
yeah,
hysterical now because that's kind of the Maha movement. What
yeah.
was it? Laura Bush, W's wife, had like hers was reading, something about childhood literacy. I can't remember
Oh
what it
yeah.
was exactly, but so anyhow, they all have something. Melania during her first term,
The
uh,
best.
be best, which I don't really know. I don't know what she ever did with that. Like maybe she did a thing or two with that, and I'm not aware of it. I don't
Yeah.
think she ever. It was just a saying. Her whole initiative was a saying. Be best. Um,
Right.
Anyhow, we haven't heard a lot from Melania this term. Her movie came out. Um, People call it a dud. I will say for a documentary, it did pretty good. It made like $7 or $8 million opening weekend. Overall, it seems like it lost money. But I saw an interesting clip today. Apparently, Trump did something at the White House today that had to do with it was for women in the workplace or something along those lines. I didn't watch it. I don't know what it was for. The clip of Melania, though, cracks me up in a lot of ways. I want you to just listen. Listen to everything. She's talking about herself, okay? If you don't catch it right off the beginning, she is telling the audience about herself this whole time.
Hmm.
Check it out.
As a visionary, I know success is not born overnight, but rather takes shape after a long and sometimes challenging process. Often alone at the top, I follow my passion, listen to my instinct, and always maintain a laser focus. In solitude, my creative mind dances, filling my imagination with originality. Attention to detail, demanding schedules, and multitasking are everyday realities when building towards success. The principle resonates across all my roles as a mother, humanitarian, philanthropist, and entrepreneur. As well as with my new film, where I shaped its creative direction, served as a producer, managed post-production, and activated the marketing campaign. Curiosity is a core value that keeps me ahead of the curve. Curiosity begets knowledge, opening doors to ideas and industry that I have otherwise overlooked. This unrestricted mindset has led me to build across very different sectors: fashion, digital assets, publishing, accessories, skincare, commercial television, and of course, filmmaking.
I have no idea what she just said, but she
So
she called herself a visionary.
she called herself, she said, as a visionary, and then she went on to describe herself. I don't think I've ever heard anybody refer to Melania as a visionary. She said as a visionary, and then the next sentence started with always alone at the top because she's at the top of the crop, so she's alone a lot. She referred to herself as a filmmaker. Eh, I don't know. The whole clip was just. I'm not trying to hate on Melania Trump, okay? But let's get real. Melania Trump is attractive. She was a model. She came to America and married a con man. Because of this con man, she is now famous. What did Melania do? Am I missing anything? Like, what has she done with her time in office? What has she done at all?
I don't know. Did she start her own businesses or did she just kind
I'll
of
bet,
get
like,
offered to be the face of a business?
you know how Trump had Trump vodka and Trump Airlines and Trump steaks, and I
Yeah,
guarantee you, there's been some Melania, some hustles. I don't even want to call them businesses. There's been some
sure.
Melania hustles over the years, but she referred to herself as a visionary, right? As a visionary, I know that blah 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 blah. Always alone at the top because she's clearly. I don't know why that rubbed me wrong and made me laugh simultaneously.
I think she's very much alone. And
Yeah,
also, how long has she been in this country? I feel like her accent should be
yeah.
lessened
I
at
think the
this point.
mid '90s, I believe, maybe early '90s to mid '90s.
Okay, so 30 years,
Yeah,
and she's still. I,
yeah.
I mean, I know people that have been here for way less than that, and they speak great English.
I gotta say real quick, I've seen a couple clips of the movie now, like on Twitter, and the part where they announced Donald Trump won the presidency, it's so funny to me because he calls her to tell like he's excited. They just announced he won, and he calls her and he's like, "Honey, honey, are you watching? They announced I'm the winner." And she's like, "Oh no, I'm not watching right now." And he's like, "Well, turn it on." And she goes, "Oh no, I'll see it later." Like she doesn't give a fuck. Like it's kind of
No,
hysterical. He's like, "No, no, I'll see it later on the news. Good
she
for
got
you,
the
honey."
golden ticket. She got the
So
golden
funny.
ticket, and
Anyhow,
she has to fuck Trump every once in a while, I guess.
well,
But
supposedly they sleep in like twin beds, not twin beds, but they sleep in separate beds.
I
I don't
thought
know.
she was living in New York and he was in DC and Mar-a-Lago.
You know, so in the first term, that was supposedly she was hardly ever at the White House, and it was because she was protecting Barron. I kind of understood that. They had a son who was like, what, 15, 16 at the time that they didn't want in the spotlight. That made sense to me. He was going to school in New York, so she was living there. I never made fun of them for that.
Sure.
Barron's away at college now. Where is Malaya? Is she living at the White House full time? Is she there every now and then? I feel like you don't see her a whole lot. So
No, you don't
she
see
is
her a lot.
she's off with all of her successful companies a lot. So that probably has a lot
That's
to do with
true.
it. Yeah.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
anyhow, the other quick thing I want to make fun of. I don't know if you remember, but there was and this was in Jake Tapper's book. But apparently George Clooney had a fundraiser for Biden at one point leading up to the 2024 election, and Biden forgot who George Clooney was. Like when he met him, he was like, "Oh,
Yeah, I remember
he was
that.
like, pleasure to meet you," and George Clooney was like, "I've met him a bunch." Like so that was one of the big warning signs that, oh no, Joe Biden's losing his mind. So that was anyhow. I bring that up only to say at that same press conference, Donald Trump was congratulating all the women that work for him. You remember the name Kellyanne Conway, right?
Yeah.
So she's not in this administration. She was there the first time. I think she's on. I see her on Fox News or Newsmax every now and then. So she's a talking head now. But and this wasn't clear till all the reporters in the room kind of told us what happened. But he's talking directly to Carolyn Levitt. Carolyn Levitt sitting in front of him. He's looking at her. He's kind of gesturing towards her. He's talking to her this whole time. Okay, that's important to know. He is addressing Carolyn Levitt here. Check this clip out.
Place, doing a good job. And of course, Kellyanne Conway. Has anyone ever heard of her? She's fantastic. She's in there fighting. She's a Kellyanne. A friend of mine said, you know, that Kellyanne, I admire her, the way she goes in and she screams at those people she's got us, meaning the media, because this is a man that doesn't do very well with the media. It's one of those things. But thank you, Kellyanne. And also...
So he confused Carolyn Levitt for Kellyanne Conway.
Okay.
If it was that alone in a vacuum and nothing else, I would give him the benefit of the doubt and say, that happens, but along with a lot of the other stuff going on with Trump, I'm like, like, are we hitting Biden levels of panic yet? Or,
But it's not like he did it once. It wasn't, he continued to say Kellyanne, Kellyanne, Kellyanne. He didn't like,
and what's funny is everybody around him is so afraid of him that you would think somebody would have been like, it's Carolyn or, whatever. Nobody
yeah.
bothered to correct him. They just let him keep going. And anyhow, so we should all call her Kellyanne Conway from now on, but whatever.
I like it.
So,
Yeah.
and then the last, and this has to do with the Middle East a little bit, but I just wanted I figured out kind of what winds you up recently. So I'd like to get you
Oh,
I'd like to get you nice and wound up. It's not Mike Johnson. I know that winds
oh,
you up. But we're going to talk about it in a minute. The war is not going well. Prices seem like they're about to spike. Overall polling has been bad. I don't know if you saw Tallarico. They did a new poll, and Tallarico in Texas is beating Cornyn 48-44 and Paxton like 49-43. I don't think
oh,
that's going to hold, but that's just a snapshot right now that like things aren't going well.
okay.
So you would think that maybe the GOP is they're panicking a little bit, or maybe they're a little afraid. Luckily for you, I didn't tell you about this, but I have a new GOP correspondent. This is our Republican correspondent that we're going to check in with from time to time just to
Okay.
see what the mood is, see how they're feeling. So let's turn right now to our new correspondent.
So I just want to say I feel good about the Republican Party. I feel good about where we're going as a nation. We're killing all the right people and we're cutting your taxes. Trump is my favorite president. We've run out of bombs. We didn't run out of bombs in World War II.
Did he just say we ran out of bombs?
Yeah, he joke because we've used so many bombs. He said we've killed all the right people. We cut your taxes. We've bombed so many people. We've almost run out of bombs. In his mind, this means things are going really well. Also, he got good. Like the crowd was going nuts for those comments. Did you see where he was speaking? Did you notice what it said on the podium?
Was that APAC? I didn't
Yeah,
really
it's
notice.
close. It was like the Republican Jewish Coalition or something along those lines.
Oh, okay. That makes
So
sense.
anyhow, fear not. Lindsey Graham feels really good about where things are heading right now. I just wanted to
Yeah,
let
I'm
you know
sure.
that.
I'm sure he does. I'm
Yeah.
sure he
So,
does.
um, other than that, I got to admit to you, I'm starting to, every now and then when me and you were talking, we have to check with each other. We're like, hey, are we the stupid ones here? Like, are we crazy? Like, are we the only ones that get this, or are we the crazy ones? There's a chance we might be stupid.
Yeah.
There's a high chance that we might be stupid. I feel like I'm going crazy in the last couple of days because everything I'm seeing about what's going on with Iran seems to be headed in a bad direction for America. But then every time I see Trump talk, he's touting the success and how great this is going. And I got worried this week. At a certain point, I saw Trump gave a speech on, it was in Kentucky. He's campaigning in Kentucky because he hates Thomas Massie because of the Epstein files. So he had a campaign in Thomas Massie's district with the guy that's trying to primary Thomas Massie. In it, he said that we've already won. In fact, I don't want to blow anything else. Let me run this little clip for you real quick.
We've won. Let me tell you, we've won. You never like to say too early you won. We won. We won the bet. In the first hour, it was over. We did an excursion. You know what an excursion is? We had to take a little trip to get rid of some evil, very evil people. They're very strong. They're going to try and take over the whole Middle East.
That was the president this afternoon. And tonight, there are scenes like this unfolding in the Middle East. Oil tankers exploding into huge fireballs in the night sky as Iran claims that it blew up the tankers using an underwater drone. You can see the flames in the water surrounding the tankers. That's likely the result of an oil spill. And we know tonight, as we come on the air, at least one crew member is dead and dozens more had to be rescued because of this scene. In the Strait of Hormuz, it has now become a battlefield of its own making, with at least 3 ships coming under attack just today alone. And as we've been reporting, this strait is incredibly important because it connects the Persian Gulf and its oil to the rest of the world. About 20% of the global oil supply actually passes through that stretch of water that you can see there.
So he said we've won. We won within the first 24 hours. And he said we've won about 10 times during that whole speech. He's declaring victory.
Okay. So we won.
I don't see it that way. So
So then we
far,
can pull out. We can pull out. We can stop. We can go back to. We
so
can go to Cuba now, I guess.
that is our next move. But Trump said to Reuters, I think it was Reuters or Axios last night. He said, at any point that I want to, we can stop this. The war will be over when I decide to end it, and it'll just end. I don't think he's living in reality because, like, Iran, they made it clear for months leading up to this. They said if Israel and America strike us, we are going to make this last a long time and be economically painful for the Americans. They said specifically they're going to make it last until the midterms. That's the only real card they have to play, is to cause economic problems for Trump leading up to the midterms. So that's what they've said. It doesn't, if we stop bombing tomorrow, I don't think they're going to just open the strait. Like, you got to think back at the end of the 12-day war in June, like, we bombed them, they bombed Israel. It happened for 12 days, and then we all agreed to peace. And really, we just went back and restocked. Like, we were running low on interceptors, and so was Israel. We took 6 months off and restocked, and now we're hitting them again. And I think they realize that if they agree to any kind of peace at this point, they're just going to get bombed again in 6 months to a year. Like, right after the midterms, this will happen again. Israel has a strategy in dealing with Gaza, Hamas, and Hezbollah, and it's called mowing the lawn. Have you ever heard about this?
No.
It basically, they're not going for total victory. They're mowing the lawn. They're gonna knock down some buildings and like deteriorate their forces and their ability, and then it'll take 5-6 months, a year, whatever, for Hamas to build back up. And whenever they get tall again, you mow the lawn. And it's a never-ending war. It's like every 6 months we're gonna have to do something. That's what people refer to it as, mowing the lawn. And
doesn't Israel want to take over like all of it?
They want to take over Gaza, and I don't think until Trump came along, I don't think they really thought they'd have the chance to do that. But even when it comes to like Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthis, which the Houthis are all the way over in Yemen, but they're basically fighting against Israel. So when it comes to fighting against all these forces against them, that's their strategy, is mowing the lawn. Iran is starting to realize that that's now our strategy with Iran. We're just going to kind of hit them every year or so, knock them back down. They want to make sure that anybody in the future that thinks about striking them is going to remember what they did to America economically and think twice about doing it. That's their whole strategy. Also, Caitlin Collins with CNN there pointed out that 20% of the oil goes through the Strait of Hormuz. To backtrack a second, I've seen all these articles this week where it turns out our government, the White House, the Pentagon, they were all shocked that Iran actually shut down the Strait of Hormuz. We didn't think they'd really do it. I'm just an idiot online. I'm not paying attention. I don't have any kind of sources. They've been saying that for a long time. I feel like we all knew that if we attack Iran, their first move is to shut down the Strait of Hormuz. I don't feel like that should be a surprise to anybody, but apparently it caught us off guard, which is weird.
Yeah, you would think that would be. I don't know. I mean, they kind of just took the last one.
Well, you would think that we would have at least had a plan for if they do it. Like, well, we don't think they're going to do it, but if they do, here's how we respond. We don't have a plan at all. And then I learned this in the last 2 days. We all knew that a lot of oil flows through there. Turns out it's 20% of the world's oil. It turns out fertilizer. I can't remember what components, but like fertilizer comes from that part of the world too. On Fox News and every other channel, there's been farmers talking about how like it's spring. This is planting season, and they need the fertilizer, and the fertilizer costs have jumped up 70% like in a week. So they're all like, more small farms have been closing down in the past year than like at any point in history, and now this is happening. And also, diesel prices have gone up more than regular gas, and all of their tractors and combines and all that stuff run off diesel. So between the diesel price increase and now fertilizer skyrocketing, like, they're in trouble. And then also, I don't even want to pretend like I knew this before yesterday. Helium, apparently. Helium comes from, I think it's Qatar produces helium. And so Qatar, at their biggest plant that produces liquefied natural gas, LNG is what they call it, and helium, they closed down and declared it's a French word. It's like force majeure or something along those lines. But it basically means, due to circumstances outside of our control, we're shutting down and we cannot meet any contracts. It's kind of like declaring bankruptcy. When you declare force majeure or whatever the heck that word is, like, you're announcing to everybody, whatever contract you had with us is now null and void. Like, we're not fulfilling the contract. Whatever order you made, due to circumstances outside of our control, we cannot do it anymore. They declared that like 2 or 3 days ago, and then 2 different companies, I believe one in India and one in China, declared the same thing, and they make microchips. Never knew this in my life. Helium is very instrumental in making transistors and microchips. It has to do with the cooling of them, something like that.
That makes sense.
So, do you remember the last time we had a microchip shortage going on?
Yeah, I do.
During COVID.
Not
Turns
too long
out
ago.
turns out microchips, that makes the cost of automobiles go up and all kinds of electronics like that. Having a microchip shortage, it turns out, really sucks. And now the two biggest companies that make like microchips and transistors and all those components, they are declaring force majeure. I'm saying this wrong every time, I guarantee you. But because of the helium stopping flowing through. I didn't know this, and I don't expect a lot of people knew this, but don't you think the government would have thought about, okay, what all goes through the Strait of Hormuz? If Iran shuts it down, what's our backup plan? How are we going to handle this? It appears they didn't at all.
Well, under any other president, we would have thought ahead.
I'd like to see, in my mind, it's not the president's job to think about this. It's the people at the Pentagon. It's the people in the National Security Council. It's all those people. Trump got rid of a bunch of generals. His National Security Council apparently doesn't really exist. It's Tulsi Gabbard. Normally, you have National Security Council meetings frequently and then brief the president on it. Apparently, we don't do that. We kind of haven't done that at all during Trump's term.
We don't need it. We're doing so well without it.
Ridiculous. So, anyhow, we've got all that good stuff going for us. On top of that, oh yeah, sorry. Because oil, what's your gas price at up there? You were driving around today. Where are you guys at?
I filled up today at $3.17 at Costco.
Oh, wow. You were lower than me somehow. I don't think that's going to last very long.
Well, that was at Costco too.
Okay. We were $2.41 when all this started, and we went today to $3.29. So we're at basically 90 cents roughly.
Okay.
Trump tweeted today, the United States is the largest oil producer in the world by far. So when oil prices go up, we make a lot of money. But of far greater interest and importance to me as president is stopping an evil empire, Iran. He goes on and on from there. But he just said, when oil prices go up, we make a lot of money. Now let's stop and analyze that real quick. Do me and you make a lot of money?
No,
okay.
The oil companies make them.
Does America, the government, like for paying off the debt, do they make a lot of money? No.
I don't know.
No. The oil companies make a lot of money.
Okay.
So for his billionaire donors that own oil companies, they're doing great right now. I'm happy for them. We should all stop worrying about the cost of goods and the cost of gas and take a second and just be happy for the oil executives. Come on, they deserve this. And
it's amazing.
Diesel prices have gone up considerably more than regular gasoline. And it's one of those where at first you're like, oh, thank God, I don't drive a diesel, so I'm doing fine. Well, guess what? Everything you buy, food, produce, goods, electronics, whatever, has to get shipped somewhere. And they all get shipped on a diesel truck. So diesel prices going up is going to cause inflation to go up across the board on everything else. Back in the 70s, there was an OPEC oil strike or an oil embargo that lasted like 6 weeks, and gas shot up here. Apparently, there was a deal where it was, this is before we were born. Anybody older than us will remember this, but I think it was by license plates. And if the number on your license plate ended in like an odd, you filled up on certain days. And if it was an even number, you filled up on the other days because there was like rushes at the gas stations. But that oil embargo only lasted 6 weeks, and it took 5 years for everything to get straightened out once they ended it and for oil prices to go back to where they were. So if this goes on 3-4 weeks and then everything ends, it's not automatically going to go back to good. Also, if the cost of diesel causes the cost of goods to go up, we learned with inflation during COVID, once the cost of diesel goes back down, the cost of the goods isn't going back down. It never goes back down. This is just the new price that these cost. So if you were trying to lose the midterms, I don't know what you would do differently.
Well, if you're trying to destroy a country, I don't know what else you would do.
You're exactly right.
I mean, he's just doing everything possible to make this country worse and worse.
Yeah. Luckily, I will say, even though Trump is declaring victory nonstop and talking about how good everything's going, Fox News isn't having it. So I got a little clip from Fox News here for you. This is a quick one.
There are new developments in the war, and they are hurting the market. 3 ships attacked in the Gulf, 2 of them, tankers, set ablaze. Energy Secretary Wright was asked if the Straits of Hormuz could be opened by the end of this month. He said he was hopeful. Goldman Sachs says if the closure stretched into April, oil could get close to $150 a barrel. The Iranians have threatened to attack any banks in the Gulf states which do business with Israel or America. Goldman Sachs has told some workers in the area, work from home. And here's the impact on the markets. First of all, oil. It hit $100 a barrel before backing off, but it's still well above $90 a barrel, 92, 93 right now. That's up 6%. Gas going up some more. The average for regular is now $3.59, getting close to $3.60.
Peace, love, like, and subscribe.
You were doing so good, buddy. So like I said, it's not going well. I think it seems like most of the American public realizes this isn't going well. That they're trying to do the whole, well, you got to have a little sacrifice to get it done or whatever. And I don't think that, I think that there's a real short leash for that. Well, we'll see how long that lasts, but people aren't going to tolerate that for too long. Also, as far as,
But do they care? Even if the American people
Yeah.
start getting angry, do they care enough to change it?
I think once you start messing with people's pocketbooks, once you affect their bank accounts, then everything else is out the window. I honestly, that's the one thing we all care about more than anything else is how we're doing financially. And if Americans start hurting support for Trump, support for Trump's already at its all-time low. It's at like 36% right now. It could get a lot lower, is all I'm going to say. Also, when it
but
comes,
I don't think he cares at this point. He's on his way out the door. He's not on his way out the door, but he's not going to run for re-election, hopefully.
Here's the thing. He is acting like he doesn't really care about the midterms. I don't believe that. He's got to care.
Yes.
He's got to, but everything he's doing is signaling that he really doesn't care. But he's got to care about that. So there's something with Netanyahu. He's got him by the balls, man. And Putin too. I mean, he was talking to Putin recently. Russia is making 150 million more a day right now because we dropped the sanctions on Russian oil because of all this. So I do have some stuff on Bibi for you in a little bit, so hold off on that. It's some good stuff too. But real quick, when it comes to reopening the Strait of Hormuz, I've listened to several military guys on podcasts, on news. I'm not a military guy, but I believe what these guys are saying. When it comes to reopening the strait, there's two ways we can do it, okay? The first way is going to be troops on the ground, and it's going to be that we're going to have to take their coastline because they have a big stretch of coastline going all the way up the Persian Gulf, and from there they can launch missiles out to the Persian Gulf or the Strait of Hormuz. Right. So we would have to take the coastline and let's say 5 miles inland and hold that to protect the ships going in and out of there. So that's boots on the ground. That should be a red line for Americans and for Trump. I don't know. The only other way to do it, according to these military guys, would be some kind of a negotiated peace. And right now, most Americans are not going to believe what I'm about to say. But right now, Iran is holding the cards. Not all of them. They're holding more than we'd like to admit. If we were going to try to negotiate peace right now, America would have to make a lot of concessions that would hurt Trump. It's stuff Trump's not willing to do. Iran seems to not care. Bomb us all you want. Kill our civilians. Do whatever you want to do. We're going to make this painful for you. And that's when you're fighting against a country that doesn't care about their civilians, you're already at a disadvantage there. And that's where we're at as America, because we do care about our civilians. So those are the two options. Take the coastline of Iran. I keep wanting to say Iraq. Or negotiate peace. And to do that, you're going to have to agree to a lot of stuff you don't want to agree to. Yeah. Also,
we're losing the war.
So right now we're not losing, but it's setting up to where there's really no way to win this. It's a quagmire. It's an unwinnable war. If I told you real quick about Iran's new leader, the son of the Ayatollah, and what happened to his family?
Yes.
Okay. I feel like this bears repeating, just for anybody that didn't catch the last episode. The new leader of Iran, his dad was the former leader, the Ayatollah Khomeini. When his dad got killed, it wasn't just his dad. It was his dad, his mom, his sister, his wife, and his only son all got killed in that blast. So he just lost his entire family and his only son. And now we think maybe he'll make peace with us in Israel. Get the F out of here. He wants blood. I'm not for killing the leaders of other countries. I don't like it when we do that. But in this case, I'm kind of I think we need to kill that guy. And if we get a chance, we should probably bomb him because there's no peace coming with him leading the place. This is the worst.
We're not going to let him live. That's probably
this is the worst case scenario for America and Israel right now. Is that guy leading this? So anyhow, gonna throw that out. Anyhow, to talk about what's really going on over there too. couple interesting things have happened in the past couple days. So far, we've had 5 ships get hit in the Gulf. One of them was ours. One of them was an American flagged oil tanker, and it was parked off the coast of Iraq. And it wasn't even really near the Strait of Hormuz, and they blew that up. What was great, while Trump was on stage in Kentucky last night dancing, like simultaneously, Trump is dancing to YMCA, and one of our ships is burning in the Middle East. I wish that an American TV or American channel would have kind of put that side by side image up there. Luckily, we have France. France did this for us. This is a real quick clip, and it's in French. You're not going to understand it. Check this out.
De Donald Trump qui est en train de danser sur YMCA pendant que le Golfe Persique est flambe avec le cours du pétrole d'ailleurs pour filer la métaphore et les gens qui sont là juste derrière lui c'est ça leur souci, c'est le cours du pétrole.
Just a great visual with the president doing his little dance as our ships are burning. Right after that, he was talking to people on the tarmac, like at the airport, right before we got back on Air Force One. And he was saying, yeah, the strait is fine. These captains need to show some guts and go through the strait, which is hysterical on a lot of levels. He's saying they need to show some guts and basically try their luck and get through there.
Right.
At the same time, he said a week ago that our Navy was about to start escorting ships through the Strait of Hormuz, and every ship that's stuck in the Persian Gulf right now has been calling our Navy to ask for an escort, and our Navy is telling all of them, we can't right now, it's too dangerous. So the Navy's telling them it's too dangerous. Trump is on TV telling them to show some guts and try to go through there.
Oh my gosh.
So 5 ships.
It's like when he was trying to get people over there were trying to get back here, and he was like, just call this number, and whatever reporter called the number and just said, we're not going to help you right now. You got to figure out how to get out of here yourself.
He said, please do not rely on the American government to get you out of there. Something along those lines. So that's hysterical. So 5 tankers hit by something in the Gulf. 3 of them were oil tankers. 2 of them were just cargo ships. One of them American flagged. We've had 3 fighter jets get shot down by friendly fire. Here's the thing. In a vacuum, it seems a little weird. A Kuwaiti F-15 shot down 3 of our F-18s. A lot of that kind of doesn't make sense for a number of reasons. F-18s are better planes than an F-15. It's weird that he shot down 3 of them before they had a chance to react, is all I'm going to say. But, okay, we'll say that was friendly fire. It seems to be. We lost a KC-135 Stratotanker today. This is from CENTCOM. U.S. Central Command is aware of a loss of a U.S. KC-135 refueling aircraft. The incident occurred in friendly airspace during Operation Epic Fury, and rescue efforts are ongoing. 2 aircraft were involved in the incident. One of the aircraft went down in western Iraq, and the second landed safely. It appears that the one that went down, there were 6 crew members on board, and all are deceased. Now, there are times, and this is refueling in midair is dangerous. Like it's one of those where you have to be very aware of what's going on. Sure. If you're flying commercial every now and then, you hit some turbulence and the plane kind of bounces up. Well, if you're connected and the bottom one bounces up and they collide, that's bad. That happens, and that probably happened here. But okay, so that happened. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna agree with the government here that this was probably an unfortunate accident, and the 3 F-15s were probably unfortunate accidents. Cool. We had that one military soldier that died of a unexpected medical incident while over there, and I'm like, there's a lot of like, hold on, wait, like when special forces get killed anywhere, we always say it was a training accident that happened, and when you hear that they died in a training accident, you almost know that it was probably they were in some country we weren't supposed to be in doing something, and they got killed.
Right.
So that's all happening. It's getting to be, and then also, that first strike in Kuwait that killed 7, I believe. At first it was just 6, and then a 7th died. We're now finding out that like 140 or something people have serious injuries and were evacuated to an Air Force base in Germany, and a lot of them to San Antonio. And we're talking traumatic brain injury, loss of limbs, all that stuff. They kind of hid that from us for a week. Like now we're finding out how bad it was. There was a base in Saudi Arabia that just got hit yesterday, and apparently we're evacuating like 80 people out of there. So we're taking more losses than our government's allowing or letting us believe that we are. And I'm starting to question all these training mishaps that are happening, is all I'm saying. So it's a little weird.
Yeah. Yeah, the fact that they're not telling us the truth on half the shit going on is
Yeah.
really
And
sketchy.
here's the thing. In a war, I don't think that's necessarily a Trump thing. I think that the government's always going to try to make it seem like we're doing better than we are in a war, whether it's a Democrat or Republican or whatever. But it's just one of those where, because it's Trump, I feel like the lies are sloppier. I want
Yeah.
them to be better at lying to me.
Well, it seems like
So
he's doing it more and more too.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's one of those where you kind of, with anybody else, you'd be like, hey, I don't want to say this, but I think the president of America is lying to us. And it'd almost be shocking. And with Trump, it's like, oh, he's lying. And like, nobody's even going to defend it. It's like, yeah, of course he's lying.
Right.
Either way. So,
Ah,
so the straits closed, gas prices are going up. That's going to cause everything else to go up. We've lost 4 planes now, 5 tankers in the Gulf, and 7 service members to enemy fire and 1 to unexpected medical event. And we have now like 200 seriously injured. So
200. Wow.
it was like 140 in the first one and then like 80 in the one in Saudi Arabia. So, and that's just what we know about at this point. So Lord knows what we don't know. So I would just say things aren't going well. The good news is if you live in Israel, things are going great. Not really. Tel Aviv is getting rocked. Trump and I, Hegseth has said it, Trump has said it. I think I've seen Bibi say it, but they're saying, oh, we've taken out so many of their missile launchers and this and that. They're only launching a fraction a day of what they were launching at the beginning. That is true. Okay. That is 100% true. They're launching like 10% of what they were launching at first. But there's a different way to look at it. I'm not saying either way is right. I'm just giving you the opposite view. A lot of people are saying, hey, in that first blitz when they got all of our what is it called? It's an acronym. It's basically the systems that launch our interceptors. I don't know if you've seen
Okay.
all of ours in the Middle East are apparently damaged or flat out of commission. So we're pulling them out of the Asian area. South Korea, we pulled all of them out apparently, and the South Korean president is pissed. He's talking to his newspaper. When we put it's called HIMARS. I don't know what it stands for, but HIMARS. When we put those in there in like 2016 or 2017, it was a big deal. China was really pissed we were putting them there, and it led to like China doing economic sanctions on South Korea because we put those systems there. Now we just removed them all, and when we try to go to put them back, it's going to cause another issue. Just throwing that out there. But so
Yeah.
and also China's about, or not, I don't want to say they're about to. There is fear that China's going to move on Taiwan at any minute now, and we're pulling all of our interceptors out of that region to support the war in Afghanistan. Sorry, in the Middle East. But
Well, I just heard today that Zelensky came to the United States and was like, "Hey, Russia and Iran are using the same missiles, and we found a way cheaper way to intercept. We have an interceptor that's like, I don't know, it was like a tenth of the cost or something,
so
and our government just went, okay, whatever."
you're combining 2 stories. Drones to take down so they have their own drones that take out those Shahed drones, the ones that are causing a lot of the damage because they move so slow with the propeller. They use little bitty FPV drones, whatever that stands for, to take those out, and the cost is great for them. But then they also started making their own version of it's like a cruise missile interceptor, and they tried to offer us a deal like, hey, we'll sell you at a very discounted rate these because you're going to need them if you're going up against Iran, and we totally poo-pooed it. We were like, thanks, Ukraine, but I think we got this. We don't need your help. Now we're going back to Ukraine asking for that help. So anyhow, but real quick, back to the amount of missiles being launched per day. One way to look at this, yes, they're launching like 10% of what they were at the beginning, but more of them are getting through. So they don't need to launch as many. At first, they had to launch 20 missiles, and our interceptors would go up and get 19 of them. So you'd launch 20 to hope that one of them got through. Now you only have to launch 5, and 1 or 2 of them is going to get through because we don't have as many interceptors and our radars have been knocked out. So for them, they're getting more bang for their buck now. They're launching less missiles, and more of them are getting through and hitting their target. So it might not be that we've totally taken out their missile launching capability. It might be that they've realized, okay, we're in a sweet spot now. We can just launch 5, and we got this.
Right. And what is the Trump administration saying about this? And what is the actual answer?
Well, the Trump administration is saying that they barely have the ability to launch missiles anymore because of all of our
Yeah.
strikes. I think the actual answer seems to be that they're able to get more of them through now, so they don't have to launch as many. That's what it seems like. And right now, our media is doing exactly what I told you they were going to do. They're hiding a lot of the damage in Tel Aviv. If you're on Twitter and following the right people, you will see Tel Aviv is getting rocked. But if you're just watching like mainstream news in America, you don't really see that much. So anyhow, we did have a little clip of BB for you. Now this is, you got to pay attention here because he's speaking in Hebrew and somebody's doing a voiceover in English. So you got to kind of pay attention to hear the English. But let's just see. Do you think, after watching this, I want you to tell me, do you think BB is a little worried about how the war is going? Or is he like Trump and this is total victory? Check this out.
Citizens of Israel, my brothers and sisters, we are in historic days, days that will be written in the annals of Israel. In Operation Roaring Lion, our roar is growing and intensifying. We are pummeling the Islamic regime in Tehran. We are pummeling its emissaries, Hezbollah in Lebanon. There's unprecedented coordination between Israel and the U.S. and achieved substantial achievements that are changing the reality in the West Bank, in the Middle East and beyond. These achievements are increasing the status of Israel as a superpower more than ever. Through our power in opposition to the power of our enemies, this is what is ensuring our survival. Our threats come and go, but when we become a regional superpower, and in many respects a global superpower, we have the power to push away threats and ensure our future.
He just referred to Israel as a superpower several times in that clip. A lot. And he kept referring to our power, meaning Israel's power. Here's the thing. Israel has a pretty good intelligence agency, and they buy all of their missiles and interceptors from us, so they have top quality stuff. But I'm not trying to be any kind of way here, but what would Israel be without America on their side in every fight they've ever had? Honest question.
Nothing. 100% nothing.
Our power. We're a superpower. No. You know what? Their superpower is the fact that they control a superpower. So maybe he's right. That is their superpower, is that they have the world's biggest superpower at their beck and call for whatever they need. So I'll give him that. But it rubbed me the wrong way to see him keep talking about how powerful they are and how they're flexing and showing the world that they're a global superpower. No. You've got a global superpower doing your bidding for you, taking all the losses. There's a meme going around that's BB, and it says, "We will fight Iran until the last American," or something along those lines. And it's like, that's the truest meme ever out there.
That's pretty good.
Killing me. And then, while we're talking about Israel, I just feel like this is important to bring up. I don't know if you'll remember this story, but back in, I'm going to say this about 2 years ago, there was a incident that happened at a detention camp where Palestinians were being held. Hamas was being held, but it turns out just a lot of everyday average Palestinians were there being held too. And it was a torture camp for all intended purposes. There was an incident that happened where it's on video. We've seen the video. You can go on Twitter tonight and find the video. 5 Israelis push a Palestinian man who's blindfolded, handcuffed. He's fully detained. They push him up against a wall, and then like 5 of the soldiers come in front and hold up shields specifically to block the camera. They know exactly where the camera's at, and they do a block. And apparently, they graped him a lot. Afterward, he had to see a doctor, and there's medical reports about it. He was bleeding from the backside profusely. This was a big deal. The tape got out. Somebody leaked there was a lady that leaked the tape that was part of the IDF, and she ended up getting charged with all kinds of stuff for leaking this tape. Israel charged those 5 IDF members, and it led to outrage in Israel. The people were so upset that they were going to press charges on these soldiers for doing this, because it's just a Palestinian. You can do whatever you want to a Palestinian. There were protests in the street. They were called the right to grape protests. That's what they were calling it. And they were saying they should have the right to do this to Palestinians. That was their whole point, okay?
What the fuck?
It died down a little bit ago. Today, Breaking from the AP. The Israeli military says it is dropping charges against 5 soldiers who were accused of sexually abusing a Palestinian detainee. So they're just dropping the charges. Those people it hasn't even been a trial yet. Those
Dude,
5 are going to be scot-free. So
that's insane.
very insane. So I just thought I'd bring that to anybody's attention. Other than that, when it comes to the war, the one thing that we're starting to see more of is incidents here in America. We've all heard about the possibility of sleeper cells. We had the gunman in Austin. I'm more inclined to believe that was a crazy person that thought, he had a shirt on that said "Property of Allah." He had an Iranian flag under it. But also, like, I find it hard to believe he was talking to any sleeper cells. He seemed to be a lone gunman type deal.
Yeah, I think so.
Today, though, we had a gunman at a college. It might have been Vanderbilt. To be honest, I didn't see much about this one, but it was a gunman at a college, and that is thought to have been domestic terrorism, possibly ISIS inspired.
Well, did you see the one guy that drove through the Jewish school?
So that's the one that I saw most of today. Because of that one seemed to get all the headlines. I really didn't see much about the shooting at the college, so I feel bad. I don't have much on that. The guy that drove into the Jewish school is very interesting. That's the main one I want to talk about with you real quick. First of all, when it first came out, my initial response was, okay, this is either going to be a Muslim of some sort that is going to say he was inspired by ISIS, or there is a decent chance this is going to be a white supremacist type person that hates Jewish people. It's one or the other. It's going to be one of those. So then we started to hear a name. The name definitely was Muslim. Ayman Galazia. I can't even say that name. I don't want to try. But so we heard that at first, and it's like, okay, this is going to be having to do with the war in Iran and Israel and all that. Turns out it is. And here's the thing. And me and you need to be very careful about this, and everybody does, okay? You can criticize the government of Israel all day long, but you have to draw a line and understand that, like, your everyday Jewish people living around the world are not the government of Israel, okay? They don't, just because they're Jewish, they don't automatically agree with what Bibi Netanyahu is saying, okay?
Totally.
So any attack on a Jewish synagogue in America is terrible. There's nothing can make me say that, oh, well, that explains it. They deserve it. No, there's no they deserve it, period, with this. I'm saying all this to say, we got a glimpse into why this guy did this, okay? And again, for the record, it's wrong, and it should never happen, and that guy shouldn't have done it, and he's already dead, but if he wasn't dead, give him the death penalty. I'm cool with that. This is from Ryan Grimm with Breaking Points. He's been right on a lot of stuff that a lot of people, when it comes to anything going on in the Middle East, Drop Site News and Breaking Points are pretty on the ball with this.
Totally.
I haven't seen this confirmed anywhere, but this is just interesting to me. This is from Ryan Grimm. The man who rammed his explosives-laden truck into a Michigan synagogue today was named Ayman Ghazal. I can't say it. According to a source familiar with the situation, whatever his name is, posted photos overnight of his family members, including young children, who were killed in recent Israeli attack in the town of Marshagara, Lebanon. This is a developing story. So this guy's over here. His children were back in Lebanon and got killed in an Israeli blast. The post, I cut it off, but the post had the pictures that the guy posted of his kids. His kids looked adorable. They were 5 or 6 years old, whatever.
Yeah.
So his kids got blown up by an Israel striking civilian targets in Lebanon. That's not disputed. That's happening. Again, this was wrong, but like that's an element of the story that I feel like we should all at least know. Like, why would anyone do this? Well, I mean, it's wrong, but if my family got blown up by any government in the world, I don't know that I have the balls to do anything about it, but for a minute, I'd be thinking about how I'm going to get my revenge on that country or that government. It seems like that was the case here.
Sure, but like, was it an elementary school?
It was a synagogue, and inside the synagogue, there was a pre-K.
Okay.
So the synagogue was called like Temple of Israel or something along those lines. So it appears in the last week or two, this happened to his family back in Lebanon, and he probably immediately Googled what's the closest synagogue and saw that, oh, the biggest one in town, the Temple of Israel, and then started forming a plan to do maximum damage to Jewish people. That's where, if he's got a problem with the government of Israel or the IDF, then go fly over there and do whatever you got to do to the government of Israel or the IDF. Leave the Jewish people in America alone. But I also think it's real interesting when you hear the why. Again, not justifying it by any means, but that's what kills me is none of us are probably going to hear that. Most people, because Ryan Grimm reported that, and even if that turns out to be true, which I don't think he would have reported it if it wasn't true, I don't think you're going to see that on CNN, Fox, or MSNBC. You're just going to hear that a ISIS-inspired terrorist decided to do this, and it's like, well,
Right.
and it makes me wonder, and I don't have anything else really to say past this, but like every ISIS-inspired terrorist, like what's their backstory? Like every time we bomb a city over in the Middle East, you hear like, well, we're pushing more people towards ISIS or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that kind of it's this
Well,
guy.
there's the sleeper cell thing, which is like ran by some of these governments.
Yeah.
And then there's the people that just do it because they hate America so much because their family was killed.
We haven't had a sleeper cell to me is like 9/11. Like that was a sleeper cell, like coordinated.
Yeah.
That
If that's true. If
unless it was the U.S. government. No, I'm saying
or the Israeli government.
Yeah, I happen to think that the 19 guys from Saudi Arabia all that seems to fit together way too well. Now,
who was in charge of Israel during 9/11?
it would have been what's that guy's name? The guy that's all over the Epstein files. I can't remember his name right now to save my life.
Did he hate Afghanistan and Iraq?
Well, they all do. I mean, yeah. I mean, okay. That's been going on for a while. So yeah. So yes, the answer is yes.
No,
so,
we can start put things together here.
Yeah. Well, and
if Israel hates another country, they're going to figure out a way to get America to.
Well, and yeah, the possibility of false flag attacks happening right now is very much on my radar. And real quick, before I get into that, real quick, I want to button this up with this guy that hit the synagogue in Detroit today. My only point is, in telling you that whole story, is everything we're doing in Iran right now, we're hitting an elementary school. Think there's 163 kids in that elementary school that died. Every one of their fathers might have just become radicalized against America, if they weren't already. Like every bomb we drop over there is potentially making a handful of new enemies for America that will stop at nothing to make us pay for what we've done to them. That's what worries me. So that's the only reason I'm telling you this whole story. Now, false flag attacks, oh boy. Nothing's confirmed, but like Tucker Carlson, I played a clip for you a couple shows ago where he said that you're not going to hear this on the news, but Qatar and Saudi Arabia just arrested Mossad agents that were in their country trying to plant bombs. And it's like, whoa, if that's true, that's huge. Well, both of those governments denied that ever happened. So don't not believe that. But a couple of the bombs that have hit like the oil refinery in Oman and the oil refinery in Qatar, Iran says, hey, we didn't do that. That came from somebody else. We didn't do that. And maybe they're lying. There's a good chance they're lying. But there's been false flag attacks in our history of the history of the world. And you have to at least look into like, hey, was there a chance that possibly America or Israel did that in order to draw these Gulf states into the war against Iran? There was video tonight, and I'm so worried about if things were AI or not, so I didn't pull it. But there was video tonight of what appeared to be a missile flying overhead in Turkey to hit a Turkey NATO airbase. Now, I don't even know that could have been AI from the start. But if Iran hit a NATO airbase in Turkey, now they've attacked NATO. Like that's bringing everybody against them. I'd like to think they're not dumb enough to do that, but who knows? Maybe they are. Or maybe that whole thing, I saw several posts about it on Twitter, and maybe they were all AI or not. Maybe it's a video of a missile somewhere else. All these things could be possible. But every time somebody's like, oh, well, Iran's denying that they actually did this, like old me would just be like, oh, they're full of shit. They did it. New me is like, we have to. Who would it benefit?
Everything's on the table at this point.
Like if now Oman and Qatar think that Iran is striking them, who does that benefit? Well, that benefits America and Israel because now you got two new Gulf countries that are on your side in the war. I'm just saying I'm not saying there are false flags. I'm just saying you have to look at them all pretty closely and at least be open to the possibility that maybe something like that might happen. So
yeah, well, then Israel doesn't like Turkey either, right?
Israel wants to. They said Turkey is next. And what's funny is this is nowhere near over, and America's already like, well, we're moving on to Cuba next, and Israel's talking about going after Turkey next. That the whole thing with Israel and Turkey needs to get sorted out like diplomatically because Turkey's a NATO country, and if you have two NATO countries go to war against each other, I don't know what happens at that point. Like, I guess whoever strikes first, the other one can try to declare Article 5. America's not going to be on their side. Yeah.
Interesting.
Very weird. Very weird. I only have two things left for you real quick. This is a quick one. You remember when Trump, with the H-1B visas, he made it a deal where to come in here on an H-1B visa, which that's the highly skilled labor, you had to pay $100,000 to come into America and he said, this is going to make us so much money. Well, just so you're aware, in 2024, we took in $28 million on the H-1B visas. And this is back when we only charged, I can't remember what it was, but it's a very small amount. But a lot of people were coming in on it. So America made $28 million. Since we raised the price to be $100,000, we only took in 85 H-1B visas for a total of 8.5 million. So we lost 19.5 million this year on H-1B visas. So just so now, some people might look at that and say, well, that's good because less foreigners came into the country. Maybe that's what they're saying. But when Trump announced the whole $100,000 thing, he was like, oh, this will make us billions of dollars. No, not when only 85 people come in.
So that was 2024 and 2025.
So 2024, we made 28 million on the visa applications. 2025, the first year under Trump, was 8.5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we lost. It was 19.5 million less than the last year of Biden. So
I can only imagine it's hard to gather $100,000 in another country.
If you have $100,000, you don't need to come here on an H-1B visa. That's just kind of the way it works.
Exactly.
The very last thing I have of the night for you is a fun one. I snuck this in just for you because I don't give a crap about it. But remember a couple weeks ago when Trump said he was fixing to release all the UFO files for the fourth time? We've already released all the UFO files several times. But remember, he said he was going to release everything about the UFOs, and everybody got excited. Well, this is a real story, and I want you to take a look at it real quick.
A high-ranking retired U.S. Air Force Major General who once commanded a base long associated with the UFO lore has been missing for nearly 2 weeks, and authorities are appealing to the public for help locating him. What?
So it was about 3 weeks ago that we said we were going to release all the UFO files. And 2 weeks ago, a high-ranking retired U.S. Air Force Major General who once commanded a base long associated with UFO lore went missing.
Interesting.
There's a lot of people online that are making a lot about this. Okay.
Well, now, what do they think?
That we had him offed or kidnapped, or so because he's the one that would know. He ran the base that was long associated with all this UFO stuff. So if we release some stuff that wasn't true, or maybe wasn't all the way true, or whatever, there's one guy out there that does know the truth that would be in a position to say, hey, you're lying about this, or hey, you didn't release all of it, or whatever it might be. So maybe if he was telling people like, hey, I know what we really were doing there. I'm not a UFO person. I'm just guessing here. But if maybe he told a couple people like, hey, if they don't release it all, I'm going to spill the beans. You could take him out. You could disappear him real quick.
Interesting.
So
it's a good thing to end on there.
Yeah. So just throwing that out there. It could just be a wacky coincidence. It could also be that our government killed somebody that has a knowledge of a UFO program. I don't know.
Oh, we don't know.
Yeah. Fuck. All right. That is all I have. So you got anything for us tonight?
Andy, no. I've been hustle bustle for so long. I'm beat. I'm about to pass out here.
You keep moving. I'm going to be in Colorado, not seeing you. I'm going to be on the other side of the state for the next half a week, 5 or 6 days. So we might not do a show in the next week. Maybe we'll do one when I'm on the road. But if not, I will see you when I get back, sir.
All right, brother.
Later.
Peace, love, like, and subscribe.
Love it.
Sometimes you eat the bar. Sometimes the bar eats you.